All right. Well, good morning. Good morning. Again, it's a little cold outside, but this is still going to be a warm place to have the Yes Way Jose program. Good morning to everybody. And, of course, I am the host. We've made that official. This is now my fourth week. Yeah. I think I'm going to make it as the host.
Yeah, maybe. I think so.
I think I'm going to make it.
I think so.
I've been through the.
I mean, we're still having discussions internally, but we'll see.
Check with the board to make sure I keep my job. All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Listen, we're obviously again. It's getting into the winter time. We didn't expect this really cold weather.
Yeah, I was telling him I left the bag with the mic stands and stuff in my car overnight. Yeah. So when I was setting this up this morning, I couldn't feel my fingers. These are very cold. They're not as cold now, but they were freezing.
They're still cold.
They're still cold, but they were like ice coming out of the bag.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's obviously winter time. We've got a great holiday season coming up. A lot of cool stuff we're going to talk about today. I just always remind people that when we tape these episodes, we are trying to make sure that we accommodate getting everybody in here and talking about different things going on in the community. We're not always at the same time when we're talking about it. It's actually when it's actually going to be.
No, yeah, this is the first week of December.
Yeah, this will be the first week of January, maybe, or the
something Christmas? Like that. Yeah, somewhere around there. Yeah.
So it'll still be cold.
It'll still be cold.
It'll still be cold.
Yeah,
so we can talk
probably,
about how cold.
And you never know.
So we know it's going to be cold. It's going to be cold.
It is Kentucky. We don't know. It might be 75 degrees in January.
I don't understand. This is really colder than we've ever had in the first 30 days. I mean,
it got cold real fast.
Yeah.
Usually December is kind of like rainy and kind of can't decide what he wants to do.
Yeah. I hope that's not a sign of something. Knocking on wood.
Oh, you don't want it to be cold?
I don't mind. No, I don't. Just a little dusting some snow. I mean, as a mayor, I don't want a whole lot of snow.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That makes sense. Makes sense. I guess I've never thought about it from the point of view of having to salt the roads.
No, we would just like it to be nice out there, right? It's got a nice little color out there. Yeah, that's what we want.
Well, next week I'll be in Salt Lake City, so we're really going to be cold. So
so good morning to everybody. I want to make sure that you all know you heard the whisper of our guest today. We have Bryan Whittaker, our county jailer, today on. So we're going to go through a number of things. Obviously, I'm going to bring up the aquatic center, right?
Of course. Well, there it is.
And then the 600,000 cars on 65, right?
Yeah. Well, you just did.
All right. See, I got two things on the list. But no, we obviously going to have a great time talking to Bryan today. But we want to make sure people know that we've got some good events coming up, a lot of good community partners. And I tell you what, when you see what's going on in Bullitt County and specifically Shepherdsville, for me, you're seeing everybody working together. So, and one of our great partners is Bryan Whittaker. Good morning, Bryan.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
No, glad to have you on. Listen, I think the biggest thing that I see is that Bryan, you and your family have a lot of history in Bullitt County. So I've always thought, well, what kind of questions do I want to ask Bryan, right? So I want to start with, first of all, just obviously you've been the jailer for a little over 2 years.
Yes.
Yeah. How's that going?
Love my job. Best job I've ever had.
All right. I know you're very enthusiastic about it. I see that you do a lot of good things. So, listen, for the audience, most people know you, Bryan. Most people know you. But I'll tell you what, it's not a bad idea to let them know what you're doing over there, talk a little bit about what's going on, day-to-day stuff. And you've shown us some stuff last year that you guys are working on, the technology part over there. It's really cool. So just give the audience a little bit of what's going on over there at County Jail.
Well, the main thing was when I first took over, it's November 7th of 2022, I walked in and realized we needed some structure. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Of course, I come from a history of a military structure like law enforcement. Mm-hmm. So the main thing we had to do was go in and restructure the environment, the attitude, the morality of the entire jail. So we walked in there and I brought in my team, which was experienced professionally through the Louisville Metro Corrections or other agencies in itself. You got to have leaders. You got to have a good team, as you know that.
Yes, sir.
So we structured that, the mentality, the attitude of the jail. We got that taken care of, and we looked at the security of the jail. The security was totally outdated. It's back in the 80s and 90s. So we had to upgrade up to, at that point, 2022. Mm-hmm. So first thing we invested in was security cameras. We put in $220,000 worth of cameras in the facility. And we got about 180 cameras, audio and video. We invested in a K-9 because no matter what jail or prison you go to, drugs are getting smuggled in.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we did that. But, one thing I promised was to bring back the substance abuse program. Uh-huh. And that's one of our one programs that we are extremely proud of. Stacy Sylvester, who's well known in the drug court, we asked her to come in and lead it and she's done a phenomenal job. We got those programs, and we got the MRT program, which is the moral reconnaissance program for the inmates. So what that is different programs like entangling relationships, anger management, parenting, thinking for good. Mm-hmm. There's a total of 8 of them, but one thing about our jail is we have the most programs than any other jail in the state, except for maybe, I think, 3.
Oh, wow. And
they have just as many as we have. I mean, we're number one with them. One program that we the DLC has started is can't remember exactly what the title of it is, but it has to do with employment. So when they get out, they'll know how to apply for a job, interview for a job, and get back in the workforce.
It's the rehabilitation part of it.
I want to take it. He's mentioned about half a dozen things, and what my first thing is that, first of all, this can't be a cyclical thing for folks. Right? They have to be able to come in there, and your job is obviously anywhere we can is to try to turn these folks back into the
right.
The
that's what I was going to say. What he's talking about is a lot of the rehabilitation.
That's
stuff.
right.
Yeah,
and so,
rehab.
Yep. And so and we are going to have some of those folks just kind of in and out. But I think what you've done and the things that I like, I mean, first of all, the technology piece is true. That's like in a lot of small towns, a lot of small counties. We have to automate. We got to get more up to the 21st century because of the staffing you have, and you have to have eyes everywhere, especially when it comes to the detention center.
Well, the thing of it is, especially with security, is we fluctuate on inmate population. Like the other day, was it yesterday or the day before, I checked exactly what our inmate population is. It's like 235-ish. We've had over about 313.
Oh, wow.
Maximum. It fluctuates, especially during the seasons. Of course, summer, a lot more people are out. You got a lot more crime going on.
Yeah.
But with that being said, we have some of the worst people you have. I mean, of course, we've had some high-profile cases, which we still house some of those folks, from murderers to rapists to child molesters. Wow. I mean, we have all of that.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, state inmates, we house state inmates, and we have 140 state inmates right now.
Okay. Wow.
So
yeah, I was going to say, going back to some of your the rehab programs that you have, and then the other piece that obviously is a very signature piece of what you guys do in the community. You partner with all the cities, and you partner with us getting things cleaned up and getting people out
proudly.
And I really, the thing that I like about that is I'm hoping that experience for these folks, and I've met some of these folks that did a great job in our city park when we have different events. You've been through the city doing different things, 44, 61. You guys are everywhere, and for me, I see these individuals. I try to encourage them. Thank you, and I want you to be a productive member of society. Yeah. And we want to make sure that they understand that we're rooting for them.
They do.
We want to see them get there.
Yeah. The one thing that a lot of people have a misperception about, these are really good people that we have out there. They just made a mistake in their life, and they're being held accountable for it. And they are one of the most. These folks are very intelligent. These are some of the smartest people I've ever met in my life. But when they come out, they want to get out. When you sit in a jail cell, whether it be all day or weeks and not get out, I mean that's mentally that's not good for them. It's tough.
That'd be rough.
So get them out into society. These are very, very, very low level inmates. They like to get out there and help you all, and I appreciate the relationships that we have with these cities. Yeah. You've been great.
You guys do a really good job with that, by the way. You really do.
Mayor Jim Eanes, Larry Dangerfield, Stewart, out in Mount Washington, and then all the smaller cities also. But getting these folks out here, it's not only helping them; it's helping the community too. And we've heard so much from the citizens and even people that's traveling through the county saying how clean our county is. And I take a lot of pride in that, and I know you do too. We live here.
We really do.
But, we spent the last few weeks helping Zone Fire Department.
I saw that,
with a Santa truck.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah,
helping them with that. And the the crew of inmates that was working on that, they were so excited about doing it. Not only getting out, but
sure. It's Christmas.
Yeah.
it's Christmas.
It's
You see the
Christmas.
smile on
That's
the
right.
kids'
That's
face,
right.
and the parents love it, enjoy it too, and that's what it's all about. I mean, if we all have our heart in the right place and work together, we can achieve so much in this county.
Yeah,
you know?
and I do want to add to the fact that when we meet these folks, I spend a lot of time with them. I tell them thank you when we see them at the city fair, Bullitt Blast, getting set up for that and being part of that. And then we had our food truck invasions and things we've done in our park. We've had some of your support with that, and I think the biggest thing is they just know that if they think that we're respectful and saying, "Hey, thank you," and feel like there's a positive, something to connect value of life back to them.
When we had the privilege to participate in the war memorial
Oh,
wall.
the veteran memorial, yeah.
Yeah, I tell you what, that really affected all of us, and the inmates and us. And I mean, that's one of the coolest things I've ever seen us do.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
In this town and in this county. I mean, that was.
Well, we worked on that for over a year and putting it together. But next year, we're going to do the Vietnam Veterans Parade. On March the 29th. It's the first Vietnam's Veterans Parade, and it's first time ever. My dad served twice in Korea and twice in Vietnam, and they never really got the celebrations or the parades when they came back. So we're going to start that. That's going to be an annual event, but next year it's March the 29th, 2025. It's the actual day of Vietnam Veterans Day, and we're putting the parade on here through the city, and it's going to be for the county. We want everybody, anywhere you live anywhere close and you served during the Vietnam era. You didn't even have to go to Vietnam, but we want you to know, you signed your name like everybody else did. It's just a matter of where you went in your service, but you signed to be a part of that conflict. And what we want people to know is we're going to start showing that appreciation from them. It was really a great experience this last summer. And I think for us, we're going to continue to do it. We realize that we have our veterans. We have a number of organizations. We have our elite American Legion. We have the Active Heroes. We have the VFW. We have good organizations, and we want to recognize everybody that served this country. And it goes back even to first responders. Even the first responders. I think it's all about making that appreciation happen, and I think people will really appreciate that. It's just we do it in our day-to-day lives. We say thank you, but in a more ceremonial way, we're going to put something big there. And I think, but for you, what you do, Bryan, you really have brought back in what I consider an ownership for the staff and the folks that you got, the professionalism that you said. But I really do believe it is about getting these folks to really believe in themselves again. Like you said, a lot of these folks just a dumb mistake. Let's get you back out there. Let's make you productive. If we have job opportunities, we're going to try to work through that with helping out. We mentioned earlier before the podcast about the drug court. A great opportunity. Judge Burris does a good job of that. I'd like to give him a plug because I see these folks going through this program, and then I look around and see everybody in the court supporting them, family and friends. And it's a great experience. And I try to go, this is my third time I've got a chance to go to that. So it ties into some of the things that you're doing.
Yeah. When I became jail, of course, I policed over 23 years.
Thank you for your service.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
When you're on the outside of the jail, you don't really get to know the stories. And first day I was in the office, I was just scrambling around, just trying to get this thing, this done, that done. And but then on my second day, I went down the halls and just started talking to some of these folks. And not only did I realize how intelligent all these folks are, but, started digging into their history on why they're there. It's the environment they grew up in.
Yeah, a lot of times.
And those type of things. And they didn't have structure in their life. And they chose, not necessarily a violent type lifestyle, but, a criminal lifestyle that would be stealing or, drugs. But we have, I think, very high percentage-wise, we have been able to really help them, and they've been a good partner in society now when they get out.
Well, I want to bring up this because everybody knows anything about me knows I really focus on kids. Everything that we do,
absolutely,
we think about the family incomes out here. Obviously, I tell people all the time, know your community, know the income levels, and know what way you can do things. And we put all these free clinics out here in the gym: basketball, soccer, volleyball. We're going to put baseball out this next year, and then we have Gaga ball. Which we talk a lot about. That.
Of course,
we got to have
Gaga
ball.
We haven't talked about Gaga ball in a minute.
We haven't, but we probably will.
It's because it's off season.
Yeah, it's off season. but we have those kind of things for kids to just come out here Saturday mornings, no cost to the parents. We did the City Fair Bullitt Blast Brian, no charge for the rides for parents or kids.
Yeah,
and
that's
when
awesome.
and then the skate park will be done April of 2025, right next door to here, and then it's available to the kids, no charge. It keeps them busy. It gets them to be kids, and then look at life in the perspective of a kid. That you don't, that's always the idle hands get in trouble. Mm-hmm. So keeping kids busy, let them have fun. Mom can drop a 13-year-old off here at the skate park and go to Walmart and shop or do whatever they got to do and come back. It's a safe place. I got the fire department that's going to be 24/7. Mm-hmm. I can look out the window and see. I got a police department on the other side. It's a safe place for kids to come, and we hope that those kind of things will help. What you were talking about is, that when you're young and you make mistakes, and if you make that one mistake and you don't get the right help, you just you fall into that cycle.
Yeah.
And then you do something else. And we want to stop that. We want to prevent that. It's not a zero-sum game. We know that. But we do know that the more folks that we can help, more kids that we can give them a good outlook on life and give them a chance to be somebody and know that there's just plenty of opportunities. And that's what we want to do. And again, like you said, you really got me thinking about the first timers or the low level offenses. We've got to make sure those people don't get lost in the system that they keep coming back. Let's make sure they know, hey, let's get you out of that. Let's break that cycle.
Yeah, just like those programs that we have at MRT, like I said, untangling the relationships, that's just based on get away from the relationships that led to why you're in jail.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a big thing is people are surrounded by people who are bad influences.
Oh, yeah.
And so like they go back to those people and then,
sometimes it's family.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You might be trying to do better. You might be trying to do like the right thing or whatever. And like you're just constantly around people who are tempting you to do the wrong thing.
Like one other class we do have a program is parenting because some of them are so detached from their children. It helps teach them how to regain that relationship, reunify with their kids.
No.
So,
I think what we try to do, we think a lot of time about this podcast. When Eli and Travis came to me about this, what we want to do is like this podcast specifically. It tells a lot of people, and a lot of people do know what you do. You do a great job communicating, but it's nice that people will listen to this podcast and go, "I didn't know about all that in the jail. I didn't realize they had all these programs." Because we want people to know more about what you're doing to make an impact in this community.
My main thing is being transparent. And I want everybody to know what we're doing. You want to criticize for it? Hey, that's fine. I can take it. If you're going to criticize, I'd like you to sit down with me and so I can understand why. If we need to change something, we will. But and believe me, there's one time this person sent me a message. I'm like, hey, I need to reevaluate how we're doing it, and I did. And I'm all about. I can take creative criticism all day long, but you always got those few out of 100.
So you know what he's saying, right? If it's on Facebook, it's true.
Yeah, right.
Not.
I know.
Yeah. So it's funny. Yeah, I know. I did actually.
It's
an episode
funny you
of
said that. Yeah.
He loves Facebook.
Yeah, I know. Because what you do, and Brian, I think you brought a good point. It's a segue we weren't really going to think about talking about, but I think it's important for people to know that me and you both care. We care about our community. We want to make an impact. We didn't choose to do this because we just wanted to sit in that office. We wanted to get out there and make a difference, and you're making a difference, and we're trying to make a difference here in Shepherdsville. And because people need to understand that part, our hearts are right. It doesn't mean that me and you won't make a mistake. But like you said, if somebody has a good idea, I'll send them a message. Please call me. It sounds like something maybe we can look at. We've changed things, and if somebody brings up something, hey, that's a good point. Let's look at it. I don't mind the same transparency that you want. I think is what we want people to understand. To just be mad, the traffic thing. I didn't build 44. I didn't build 65. I didn't create. We only have one artery to get out of the city. I didn't create that there's 65% of the is in the floodplain. We don't create those kind of things. And when I say it like that to you is because you, in 2.5 years, have brought back what I call a standard to what the expectation should be of a detention center, right? So you're working on the technology piece. You're trying to help these folks rehab themselves in a way they can become productive members of society.
I tell everybody I try to do better today than I did yesterday, and that keeps us on course.
Yep.
And I tell everybody this is not just me; it's teamwork.
Yeah. Oh, it is absolutely.
There is no way we would have been able to have as much progress without the team I have. And people keep on saying, "Hey, you're doing a great job." I'm like, "Hey, it's not just me.
Yep.
I will not." everybody needs to get credit for stuff that they've done, and it's not just me; it's a team I have also.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
And the thing of it, whether it be me or you, in the positions we're in, we got to stay humble, man. Stay humble and just keep our hearts in the right place. And
yeah, I think that's the hardest part for a lot of people. You have to understand, if you look at what you did to get to this position and what you are working on now, it's the same thing for me. It's like I said, Shepherdsville is a great community. I really believe that. I felt like it was. I tell people when I was campaigning, it's a gold mine, and people would look at me like, "Why do you think that way? It's just a truck stops with fast food and warehouses." I said, "No, I think it has it between the park, the river, the revenue piece. I see it, and so reinvesting and being able to be a community. Our challenges are 65." A lot of times the folks that are in the detention center, if they get a chance to come out, what are we doing to help them? What can we do together? So me and you will continue to look at that, how we can work together, because it is in the city of Shepherdsville. What do we do? What are me and you working on? But I like the programs that you get going on. We're just getting started. A lot of initiatives on my side. You're working a lot of initiatives. But I think if we keep these partnerships, we're going to continue to make this one of the better communities in the state.
Absolutely.
I think so.
It's all about building relationships. And just, if we have differences, just talk them out. You and I may disagree on something. You might have a different direction on things than I, but we all have the same goal.
Yeah, see that, and that's a great point. That's a great point.
And the relationships that we built with these cities are great. I can't say enough about our working relationships. And I want to even plug Judge Summers and Deputy Parrish and Keith Griffey and Paulita Keith. They've been so great to work with and supportive of what we do. And I want to make sure I plug them also.
Yeah, I would say that our best asset is our people. Okay, we do obviously have revenue dollars. I mean, the damned if you do, damned if you don't, the 65 with the traffic and all that. But they actually bring us a ton of business. They really do for the city of Shepherdsville and the county, the revenue piece and the property piece, taxes. But for us, we are so kind of catching up in the city of Shepherdsville. We got a beautiful community in Mount Washington. We know E-Town's a great community. Bardstown's a nice community. So we'd like to be in that realm.
Well, the thing of it is growing up here, everybody's wanting to keep that little Mayberry feel, which isn't a bad feel.
No.
But we have to catch up a little bit with times too. It's sort of a balance, but I think we'll be able to do that here in Shepherdsville.
Yep.
I love LJ.
Yeah.
I love the old Mayberry feeling down there. Every time I go down there and visit, and
to me though,
it's pretty cool.
From my point of view, like I think that Shepherdsville, like my dad's family is from here, and I grew up the first part of my life in Jefferson County, so we moved down here whenever I was in school. But anyway, long story short, I think when my dad was young, it was like a Mayberry feel, you know what I mean? But like whenever, what I remember from like moving here in 2006 or so is like, it was a place where everybody it kind of seemed like a place everybody just came and went in their house and nobody talked to each other. And everybody kind of was going to Louisville at that point to do stuff. Now I feel like it's more like we're building a community where people are actually talking about what are we doing in Shepherdsville?
Yeah.
How can we make this place better instead of just like being like, well, this is just where I live, but I go over there.
When I was growing up, what's the population here now? About 12,000?
Well, we're almost 15,000.
Wow, 15,000 now. When I was growing up here, I remember population here was like around 3,000, 3,500.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we had, 2 street lights?
Yeah, I think my dad talks about like 44 out in the West End was still like, when he was little, it was still like gravel, I think, or something, like a little bit. Or maybe it was when his brothers were little. But
And we understand that piece. And I think for us, part of the problem for our downtown area is the flooding that's hurt some of those buildings.
Oh, absolutely.
But we have a chance now, and we've seen some of it in the last 6 months or so. We're actually renovating downtown, having things down there. We're going to bring a brewery and a pizza place down there. You got a coffee and wine shop. You got other activities.
That's true. That's probably had a lot to do with that. I didn't think about that. But
And so trying to renovate the downtown area as a place to come down to. We're going to make a connectivity between walking from the downtown area all the way to the aquatic center, Cart Country area, and then being in a hotel. If you could be able to park in that hotel and walk to those other places and grab something to eat, because when my wife and I, we go anywhere, we park our car. We don't drive anymore. We walk everywhere we can walk. We just enjoy doing that, and it's great. We need to have that here. We've got wineries. We've got a bourbon experience. We've got other activities. You're going to have the aquatic center in pickleball. You're going to have the Cart Country. You got putt-putt over there, arcades. So you're going to have things for more, and we're looking at a bowling alley. We're looking at full-service restaurants, better shopping. So it's going to allow the people that live here, they can do more here instead of having to go to these other cities. Why can't we do more of that here? We deserve that just as much as anybody. And I think you're right. We still want to have some kind of feel, and we can do some things downtown to keep that downtown feel. The park has just a great opportunity. We're doing some renovations in there. We're putting up new fencing and stuff. It's going to look really nice when we get it all done. And the thing of it is, people want to see that.
Yeah.
The folks that I get the hometown. We'll keep as much of that as we can. We're going to try to do everything we can so everybody knows the history.
But that makes it more hometown. You know what I mean? Like, because now you have, like, your city has that park. No one else has that park. No one else has that aquatic.
Nobody has that river. It looks so great down there in the mornings when you come down.
And also, you're building that park, and so like you're having all these local businesses, and like you're saying, you're having an area where you like park and you walk around different places. Which, by the way, works out better anyway because we don't have room for parking. So like it's better. Not everybody can have a big parking lot. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? That is the community. You know what I mean? That's turning it into a community. That's going to be awesome whenever you have like all those local businesses. That's the thing is before all those floods and stuff, like you said, like my dad, we would go through Shepherdsville and he'd be like, that used to be this guy's place, and that used to be this guy's store. This used to be the grocery store.
The old pharmacy was the place at the corner there,
right? And like now, like whenever I'm like an old man and I got grandkids,
you're looking kind of old to me.
Well, I know, yeah, I'm getting there, but I'm just saying, like I'll be able to drive through there and be like, well, this was ground up books, and this was different people's stores are coming back, and who owns the places. It's not just some corporation that you don't know who they are.
No, and we can do a lot to keep growing our community. But you know what? And I say this, and this is one of the things I want people to know about this podcast. Bringing Bryan on and knowing the job he has to do is just a part of our community and our social service aspect of it. We got to keep thinking how we do that. So, with the programs you're doing, Bryan, I hope that people at least learn a little bit more about you today. And I appreciate your service as a police officer. I know you have many years of that. I really do. And I appreciate what you're doing at the jail. I really do. I think there's a partnership, and we're going to continue to grow that. But I just like it that most of us have our heart in the right place. And I believe that because you can see it. Everybody wants to jump in. I get phone calls every week about people wanting, hey, I'd like to build something here. I got another phone call yesterday with 200 plus more jobs. And it's great to have that. If you can work here, live here, and play here, why not? And then if you need to go to a baseball game in Louisville or you want to see a concert at Yum Center,
there's nothing wrong with Louisville. I'm just saying.
I say that because I want our town to be our town.
Yeah, we don't have to be a suburb of Louisville. You know what I mean? Like we can be close to it, but we don't have to be their suburb. We can have our own place.
That'd be a no.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. But that's how it's always kind of felt. You know what I mean? So like, let's stop doing that.
Well, Bryan, listen, I'm going to tell you. I would first of all tell you thank you for coming on the podcast. I think for us,
thanks for having me.
Yeah, we'll have you back again next year. Just get updates. I'd like to make sure everybody we got on there. We want to get updates, things that you're working on, keep that going. But I appreciate your partnership, and I know a lot of people really appreciate your folks being out there doing the things they do. That. You guys make a difference. You make a difference in our. But we have one thing that we have to do, Bryan. If you've listened to any of these podcasts, we end our podcast with one thing.
We actually have two things. We actually have two things. We haven't said the email. Yeah, the email address. YesWayJoseMail@gmail.com.
Look at you. You don't have your backup singer.
No, I know. Maybe I'll just double my voice.
What was that again?
YesWayJoseMail@gmail.com.
Thank you nicely. Anyway, so we always like to make sure we put our email address out, but we always end our podcast with the Love, Peace, Chicken Grease. So, Mr. County Jailer, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, Love, Peace, Chicken Grease. Are you ready?
I guess.
All right. You can do this, Bryan. All right, 1, 2, 3.
Love, Peace, Chicken Grease.
Thank you, Bryan. Glad to have you on the show.
Hey, I appreciate y'all. Thanks.
Thank you, Dan.